this going.
Let me warm up the band.
All right, let's scare him. Podcast. With Cass and Dom and Tony Deppen. What's up, everybody? The Push. What's up, everybody? Welcome once again to The Push, presented by bodyslam.net. And we are here making Tony Deppen today way too long for us. We're here with indie darling Tony Deppen, who has been all over the nation, all over the wrestling world. For at a very young age, you've built a very established career for yourself. And we have a lot of questions that honestly.
First, hold on. I want to ask you, how old do you think I am?
Yeah, Dom, how old do you think Tony is?
I think we're around the same age, aren't we? Oh, you're in your 30s, early 30s?
Yeah, that's not young.
See,
that's old. And like a lot of the wrestlers in today, man, like I go in the locker room, all these kids are like 20, 21, like Starboard Charlie and
those kids
Jack
are young,
Hartwheel
though.
are 19 and 20.
I don't care. I don't care. We're young. We're not old. I'm not going to allow anybody to tell me otherwise. I said the same thing to Ethan Page when we had him on, because he's our age too. And he said, we're not young. You got to stop acting like we're young. I said, no. Listen.
Oh, no, I know 33 is young, but like in the wrestling world.
No, I get that.
WWE just put the kibosh on anybody over 30. There's a reason why.
Well, this is all about the push. And you look young for your age. You've got a hell of a resume that doesn't speak to I'm not saying it right, but I just feel like for what you've accomplished at this age, it really says a lot for what you've already done. You've been in Ring of Honor, you've been in Game Changer, you've been in CZW, you've been in Chikara Wrestling, and I'm from Philadelphia myself, so all of these promotions seem like very big time established promotions that I've grown up knowing about. Do you feel like at this point you can hang your hat on the career that you've had without really having to strive for much else?
Well, I get what you're saying, because all those companies are like, I've been a fan of independent wrestling for the past 20 years. So me being able to work for all those companies, like when I was growing up, those were all like the top dogs that you're like, I always like, oh, I remember when I started catching NXT, I was like, oh, it'd be cool if I worked CZW. I feel like I made it when I worked CZW. Then I made the CZW. And then I was like, oh, it'd be cool if I get to Chikara. Then I got to Chikara. Then this, then that, then that. And now, like, would I be disappointed if I ended everything tomorrow? I couldn't say I'd be that disappointed. The only reason I'd be slightly disappointed is because I feel like there's more to the story that I have yet to tell. So.
Sure. And speaking of telling stories, you mentioned Chikara, and I feel that that's kind of a hidden gem when it comes to wrestling fans. You either know about it or you have kind of no idea what it is. For somebody who is a wrestling fan, but who is unfamiliar with Chikara, could you kind of explain what the difference is with Chikara compared to other promotions?
It honestly really depends, because Chikara in the later years was more story driven. Like there are more stories behind everything that was happening. There's a rhyme and reason behind everything. And Thou Shalt Not Be Named created a lot of great stories to keep you hooked in line into the next episode. But then the earlier days, because I used to go Chikara in like 2006, and it was just like, hey, let's have really good matches. I coined this term with Ray Horace as Americanized Lucha. Like they Americanized it. And like they kind of like gave us, they put stories in between the flashy moves. And that's what I feel like that was Chikara in the earlier days. And then it started getting like in the 2008, 2009, it started kind of intertwining both of them together. And I think around 2008 to 2010, I don't feel it, besides PWG, I don't feel like anybody could touch Chikara at that time when it came to like product as a whole. Like the stories were great, the in-ring matches were fantastic. You wouldn't watch a Chikara match and feel like that match was okay.
I'm glad that you mentioned that time period too, because I think there was something very special about that specific period in time that you had mentioned. And do you feel that being a part of that on the inside during that time period really gave you a leg up with storytelling when you got to other promotions?
Well, I started wrestling in 2009, but like I've been in a wrestling ring since 2005. So like I was just kind of getting started, and I really like to mimic the Shikara of the old years, where it's just like, hey, let's do the coolest moves we possibly can, and like throw arm drags and stuff like that. But like story wise, wrestling, I didn't really sink that in until later in my career, and I stopped doing the fancy moves, and I started getting more bookings based off of storytelling and less about the moves I was doing.
Speaking of, the storytelling as opposed to the moves, how do you balance being such a dick in the ring with being a dad in real life?
I just play somebody that I really could never be in my own life. That's like, I could never be that type of person. I'm too nice. Like, look at me. Like everybody says I look like an accountant, minus my hair being super disheveled right now. But
sorry, you're taking the pressure off of me and my hair.
Yeah, my hair. I wear a hat all day, so. But like, I've always just enjoyed being somebody that I couldn't be and somebody that I wouldn't want to be. Like, so I'm just like, okay, like let's just be mean. Like I don't degrade people when I'm out there. Like I don't do that because I think that's cheap, and it's easy to get somebody to hate you if you called somebody fat. That's not hard. But get them to hate you just based off of your reactions on things, or like I'll call people stupid or something like that. But if I've called anybody fat, it was probably somebody I knew. Right. And I'm friends with, and they knew that it was just me fucking around with them. Like it's just not. I don't know. It's always been cheap to me.
That's it's a lot like comedians when they say it's harder to do clean comedy and still be funny. It's kind of the same thing. It's harder to be a heel and get people to hate you without taking the easy route and taking those cheap shots that are there, easy for the taking. But was it hard for you at first to try to tap into such a different personality when you have so many strangers watching you, especially when you get onto television and onto streaming services where you're really portraying a character live?
I never really bothered. It didn't bother me ever performing in front of people because prior to wrestling, I was in a punk band with my friend for many years, and I would just like when we were performing, I would just strip down to my boxers and play. Like I was never fully clothed and stuff like that.
Very
so
Chili
being
Peppers.
like that, yeah, just like being, and I was like outlandish on stage and stuff like that. Like, so that never really bothered me. I feel like the only thing I ever encountered, I feel like that may have been misconstrued wrong, is just like my personality when it started getting online more. Like I remember when I wrestled Dustin Thomas, aka No Legs, at spring break. I was talking to Joey and all them. They're like, Tony, just like you could make fun of him, whatever. And I'm just like, I'm just worried that the internet is going to perceive this wrong and think that like I legitimately make fun of handicapped people. Like, and that's not me, but Dustin was cool about all of it. He's like, hey, Tony, just say whatever you want. He's like, I'll make sure, nothing will happen to you. I was like, okay, cool. Like, and I just called him Lieutenant Dan. I didn't like say anything about like too crazy.
And you know what? Something like that, you would think the only people that are old enough to get it are the people who are, you would hope, the majority of which are smart enough to not take too much offense to something like that, as opposed to younger audience where you would have to worry about just that immediate reaction.
That is the problem because references get lost in the shuffle, especially in age gaps, and that's what I sometimes need to worry about. Like if I make a reference that has nothing to do with anything in today's world, but it's just something from like 30 years ago, something like you can't say anymore. It's like, wait, what? Like I remember somebody got in trouble for referencing a Star Wars thing because in today's world it's something derogatory, and I didn't know that until I didn't say it, but somebody else said it, and then like they were posting about it. I was like, oh shit, I didn't know that was something derogatory. Yeah. So I had to change because like every day the English language is changing, and I want to make sure that I'm not out here offending people in that way. I don't want to offend somebody by making fun of their sexual orientation or their like identities or stuff like that.
Sure. And even culturally, you find a lot of the time with even older people, it's a generational thing, national terms or racial terms that weren't considered to be derogatory 40 or 50 years ago. People are saying that now, not even realizing, maybe shouldn't say that anymore,
Exact. Times change, and I just try to adapt with the times. Like, so like I can't say I always keep up with the terms and what's not. Like, I feel like one day I may slip up on accident on saying something that wasn't supposed to be said. Mm-hmm. But like, and it's a shitty thing to say when you claim ignorance as why you don't know, but people also need to realize as you get older and you have a family, knowing about what's on the up or what's something this and that, you don't have the time to always realize that. I don't have time to look at Urban Dictionary.
Exactly. I was just about to say that too. Your free time, your world is so much smaller now, because on TV it's probably a lot of Puppy Dog Pals, PJ Masks, a lot of kids shows. Like you said, you're not going to be just cruising around looking on online as much as you would if you were in your teens or if you were younger. But when you are in front of nobody, but that you're being projected out into a live audience, has that made it a lot harder for you to worry about what you're saying, or without that live audience there to be able to gauge, the immediate, did I come off wrong there?
I feel like I was less vocal during the no fan shows. Like I was vocal, but selling wise, but I wasn't trying to communicate as much as I would like when there'd be fans to interact with. So I don't feel like I was ever worried about. I think the only thing I was ever worried is like working with Ring of Honor and like that stadium echoes or the arena echoes, and they're very strict on like no cursing, and I tend to curse a lot. So I was always like waiting for me to like slip up with for example, like at GCW, like if somebody chops me like, oh you motherfucker, like I'll like oh that hurts, like, and I was like, oh I can't kind of say that because that will be easily distinguished on their TV.
Yeah. Other than not being able to curse, do you find that there's some hidden benefits to not having a live audience there and being able to tell a story where, like you said, every exhale gets picked up by the mics and everything that you say to each other? Or is it make it that much harder to communicate in the ring and get it across?
I think for story purpose it was a lot easier because everybody saw every single movement, and some of my movements, like I like to kind of push in with the story, but you may not see it if you're there live.
Sure.
But there are times, like for example, like so when I wrestled Tracy Williams and I won the Ring of Honor TV title, my whole thing is like I was trying to get his anger and violence out of him because like they're supposed to be very pure. And right before the finish, he kept pummeling me and hit me as hard as he possibly can. And I look up and I start smiling. I just go like this one more time, and that's when I pinned him. Like, so I baited him in, and people could, like, I remember somebody commented like, dude, that was perfect that I got to see like that. I saw that. And that was, if you would have been there live, you probably wouldn't have seen it.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's, and rewatching that match back, how can you try to put in the words that this, like what you felt when you got that title? As far as I know, it's not what many mainstream fans think of as like the top title in wrestling, but coming from where we're from, a Ring of Honor rings out for a long time, and to get that title, was that kind of a validation of your career up until this point?
It was extremely surreal because like it doesn't matter at the end of the day, it's a Ring of Honor World or a television championship. Roderick Strong has held that, like a lot of people have held that belt, and I just remember always being on the crappiest of indie shows and these guys that are old and bigger than me, and they're like, you're never gonna do anything in wrestling, and here I am winning a Ring of Honor title. So like I remember so going in the match, since I'm not signed, I legitimately like, I'm not winning this match. Like there's not a fucking chance. Like why would they put a belt on somebody that's not winning? And I went over to the booker and we're like, what's going on with everything? He's like, okay, can you promise me that you'll be here? And I was like, yeah, why? He's like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, why? He's like, so you're telling me that you could be here for the next tapings? I was like, yes, why? He goes, congratulations, you're up. And I'm just like, we had to wear masks in the back at all times because the Maryland Athletic Commission. And like, I was just like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like you couldn't see it. You could just see my eyes.
Right.
And then like my wife knew I was going into the match because like I tell her everything I'm going like match wise. Mm-hmm. And after the match, I just sent a picture of her. I sent her a picture of the belt, and she goes, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I was just like, "No." I'm like, "Yeah, that's mine right now." I'm like, but the worst thing is I had to keep quiet about it for like a month and a half because I won that back in like March. I think the taping for, and it didn't air till May 3rd.
Right. Yeah, that must have been a juicy secret to be sitting on for that long.
Oh yeah, I told my wife and like one of my really close friends. That he likes wrestling, but he's not on Twitter or anything, so he's not like he's going out and talking about it.
Now, you mentioned booking. You've been in ROH. You've been in a few other companies. You're not really officially tied down to anybody right now, though. Is that correct?
Nope, not at all.
How do you feel about that? Do you kind of prefer that right now with the landscape?
No, I don't prefer that at all, because as a new father and going to be another father next year, because my wife's going to be pregnant again.
Congratulations! That's awesome.
Thank you. Cool. I would like to be home more often, and if I were signed to guaranteed money at Ring of Honor, I would just have to do their dates, and maybe I could do some select indies as well. But currently it's just like, okay, I need to wrestle as much as possible. I need to be away from home as much as possible. And like, I feel like there's a thing coming again with the pandemic. Like, I've already had somebody hit me up today about canceling a show.
Really?
Yeah. So like, I'm just like, I'd much rather be like, I know people are like, oh, I don't want to get tied down. But if you're smart about it, you're not tied down to the T. And I feel like I have enough momentum that I could utilize where I am at right now to not be tied down 100% and still make guaranteed money.
And it sounds like at the end of the day, putting, food on the table for the family is really all of the priorities. So whichever place is going to provide that is going to be the best offer for you. But if hypothetically, if there was anywhere that you could go creatively, are you one of those people that always had that WWE dream, or with the landscape looking the way it is now, would you prefer to go elsewhere?
I'm a realist. I've always felt that way, that I would never want to work with WWE, not because I wouldn't want to really, but not because it's because of my size. I'm completely aware that I'm not the biggest person. So everybody on Twitter or any form of social media that comes like, oh, he's too small. Yeah, no shit. My dad's 6'6". I got the shit end of the stick. So
you pop 6'6"?
Yeah, my dad's 6'6". My brother's 6'2". My other brother's 6'1". So yeah,
man.
Yeah.
Well, so, did you inherit? If you didn't get any of the height, did you inherit anything else from Pop? Did he give you anything else that you could use?
No, athletic ability. Maybe. My dad was a state champion basketball.
Was he really?
Yeah, back in '82 or something like that. But like, I always realized that I'm too small for wrestling, and that I never thought I would do what I'm doing now, let alone like I never like WWE. No, thank you. Like, because they wouldn't want me because I'm too small, and I completely understand that. So like, it was never anything on my mind. I would really like to be a Ring of Honor, but I also would not say no to like AEW because I have a lot of friends there.
Sure.
Like, and they're happy there, and like they're having a good time, and I just want to have a good time and be around people that genuinely enjoy wrestling. That's all I care about. I don't want to be in a place that everybody's miserable and hates wrestling. I don't want to be in a place that people just are there for a paycheck, because I genuinely love professional wrestling. I've been watching professional wrestling since 1991, and it's all I've ever done. I've been in a professional wrestling ring for half my life.
Right.
Like, so like I don't want to be around people that are just there for a paycheck, because they piss me off too much, and I wouldn't want to be around them.
And that's why I come back to you're so young, because even though you say, you've been around for so long, you still have so many years hypothetically that you can put into the wrestling business in the ring if that was something that you choose to do. So to think that you still have so many years and so many options ahead of you, whether it be places you haven't already blazed the trail or places that you can go back to as a former champion. But I do want to ask, if you weren't in wrestling, what do you think you would be doing? Hard to say.
At a job I hate, and probably borderline alcoholic.
So it's, not that I want to hear about borderline alcoholic or anything like that, dude. It sounds so cool when I ask that question, and it's hard for somebody to come up with an answer. It's like, I don't know, man. I just always wanted to do this. And one person that actually gave the exact same answer, I would love to get your opinion on him, is Ring of Honor's Bri Johnson. I don't know how you feel about him.
I love Brian. I just wish he'd calm the fuck down a little bit. The guy's gonna give himself a heart attack.
It's like the general consensus.
I don't even think Brian drinks.
I don't
know. If he does, it's probably something like White Claw or something. Because I've been at a show, like an after show, and then I don't really picture him drinking.
I don't
Maybe
know. It would make sense. I don't know him personally, but he looks very committed to his craft.
if anything, he should be smoking weed to calm himself down. Like, I just don't know what I would do. Like, I would probably just be working a job I don't like,
Man.
and I wouldn't be in shape probably because I genuinely I started going to the gym more frequently because of wrestling, and it actually helps my mental state too.
Sure.
But I feel like if I weren't wrestling, I would have never put that much effort into going to the gym. So I don't know. It's really hard for me to gauge that because I never did anything. I've just wrestled.
Now, so you weren't really into training, weightlifting, or much before wrestling in your career?
When I was in high school, my senior year, I got really into it. And then I blew my meniscus when I was backyard wrestling. So I really stopped lifting at the time. Like I was like scared to do it because it was the first time I ever like sustained a knee injury, and I was not happy about it. So like, and I was doing quite well with lifting at that time. Like I was 135 pounds, but I was squatting 300 pounds and stuff like that. So like I was doing very well. It's just if I never got derailed with that meniscus injury at that first, I'd probably be a little bit bigger now. But then like every time I would get started, something would happen. Like I'd get my momentum going, something else would happen. Like the one time I was doing really well going to the gym, I lost my job and like I couldn't afford to go to the gym or like even eat properly. Mm-hmm. So
and just stop and go makes it hard. So yeah, I hear you. The with that though, how long would you say you were training for wrestling before you felt like you were comfortable in the ring to perform an entire match?
Well, see, when I was I started getting in the ring in 2005 because I wrestled in the backyard, and my friends, they were actually trained, and they're like, "Oh, if you want to come up and wrestle with us, you have to come up an off day, and we have to show you how to do things." Right. Like, so once you're hurting us, so like, okay, cool, that's fine. But I never really learned like the construction of a match until like a couple years in, just learning and watching DVDs and seeing how they construct things and all that fun stuff. I don't know. Like wrestling, everybody thinks you need to freaking train for 3 years before you have your first match. But back in the day for wrestling, all it was is you would train like for a little bit. He doesn't do that. And then all of a sudden you would go and travel with somebody that has been wrestling, and you learn as you go.
Right. Yeah. Definitely more of a progression. And it's funny that you say that because it seems like more and more today, that's really not how it goes with people. You know, you go to a training center, you go to an academy. In fact, I'm right down the street from the Chikara Training Center in Northeast Philadelphia. But not that I'm putting myself on blast too much, I guess. But
yeah, like because I remember a lot of people just say that, and I wish I was somewhat properly trained sometimes, but I really wasn't. I can gladly say that. You know, I'll be honest with everybody. I was never really properly trained. I was talking to Mike Bennett one day after a Ring of Honor show, and he's like, "Tony, who trained you?" I was like, pretty much nobody. I was like, I learned a lot by myself. I was like, and then seminars. He's like, wow. He's like, I would hate to see how good you were if you actually got trained. He's like, because he's like, that speaks a lot to how much you love wrestling, that you've never been trained in. And you hold it to such a high standard. And so that's the way I am. Like I'm very critical when it comes to wrestling, and people may see me as being a negative, but in reality, I care about wrestling too much. That I want it to look good, and I don't want it to look like shit.
No, I love that. And actually, that one of the questions that I had written down here was that because you seem so comfortable with the various different wrestling styles, that you seem so well trained and polished and comfortable with, you know, a grappling match style, the hardcore style, you know, striking. Is there any one style that you feel like you prefer to perform, or do you enjoy the you know, competitive balance that you have with other people and being able to be so versatile?
I was legitimately today I was just talking to myself about it, more or less. I wasn't talking to anybody else. But
I do that too.
Like a lot of people, when because everybody always they always talk about who's the best wrestler in the world. And it's always like Gresham, Lee Moriarty, Wheeler Yuta, and they're all fantastic. And the difference in what people say about me being one of the best wrestlers is because I could wrestle anybody and I would wrestle a good style. Like if you I watch a John Gresham match, I know I'm getting a John Gresham match. It's easy. Like I could tell you that the points of it. And when it comes to me, like like if you see me against, for example, I wrestled Jack Cartwheel last week at PWG. People was like, oh shit, like we don't know what we're gonna get Tony out, like we're gonna get some crazy stuff out of it. And then I could go wrestle Lee Moriarty and people were like, holy shit, Tony can still hang with that guy. Tony can still hang with that guy. Like it's hard for some people to literally take their style and go and clash with a style, because some guys will literally make it their show.
Yeah.
If they're wrestling, like if they're wrestling a flippy guy and they're a technical guy, it's going to be almost all technical. And I don't like doing that.
Sure. How are you doing after? Didn't you get hurt at PWG? Didn't you say you hurt your ribs when I was talking to you?
Oh yeah, I think Jack almost bruised my ribs. He gave me a Northern Lights suplex, and I don't know what he did, just crunched my ribs. I was like, I was like, that sucks. So, but it wasn't too bad. Like it's a little sore still, but nothing crazy.
Not gonna miss time or nothing.
I could wrestle easily.
When something like that happens, how quick are you to go get it checked out? Is it the kind of thing where you
I don't get checked out. Nope.
Ever?
Nope.
No news is good news, right?
Unless I can't walk or something, that's the only way I'm getting checked out.
That's kind of how Cass is, but he's just lazy.
No, I'm the same way. I'm like, it's not going to be good news, so no need to really get it unless you have to.
Yeah, if I had severe pain, I'd be getting checked. But just when I was talking to some guys, they're talking when I say my rib, they're like, don't worry about it, Tony, it's probably bruised. I was like, okay.
And there's not much you can do for ribs anyway. It's not like you can.
That's what they said. There's nothing like you go there for them to tell you to wrap your ribs.
Yeah,
I'll pay you $200 for that.
Yeah. And what's the point of wrapping ribs anyway? Just keep it compressed?
I don't know. DDP had it for like 8 years, so it must have worked for him.
Gotta sell the injury, brother.
I feel like DDP is kind of like 2 miracles away from sainthood, though. So I'm afraid to say anything bad about him ever.
I've never heard anything bad about him, so I don't know.
Yeah, I was blessed to run into him just randomly, like a few different times, and every time, whether it was just walking past on the street or twice it was at like a signing where he happened to be, every single time he took a good chunk of the time to go put somebody who was having some kind of back issue or shoulder issue and teach him stretches out on the wall, and while there's a line of people waiting for him. Or literally it was one time on the street, it was a wrestling convention. It was in New Orleans, and he was there at coming out of the hotel, and he was literally on the hotel wall, just, helping somebody out with their stretches with DDP yoga. But
that's awesome.
It seems, I know, right? But and that's the thing. You love to see such good people get rewarded, people that genuinely want to help and do good for the business or for others. It's such a joy here talking to you, because I was so scared that you were going to be a lot like your character. In fact, Cass we had to reschedule on you last week, and Cass was so scared that he's like, you can tell him.
No, it's not that I was scared. It's just that I always have to be the delivery boy, because sorry, we got to reschedule because I don't know what's Dom something. And then I have to middleman to figure out when. So I was like, man, you just do it this time, so that way I don't book into your when it's
whatever. Not about us. I'm not about DDP.
Calm. The only time I'm very, very calm at all times. And my wife says I'm too calm. She could yell at me and I would just be like, okay, that's cool. Good.
No,
I don't believe in yelling or getting real. I don't believe in getting really mad. I literally my first was out wrestling.
I was going to say, you have a good outlet for it to be able to take it out there, and then like a sponge, just wring it out in the ring and come home and you're all good.
Are you going to be doing the GCW shows in Chicago in a couple weeks?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Nice. Me too. I'll look for you. Those should be fun. I think, was it Friday, Saturday, and is there something on Sunday too?
I don't know what's on. I go in there. I go to Detroit Wednesday, Thursday for GCW, and then GCW and Horror Slam, and then Friday and Saturday. I don't. I just
Friday night is the late night one, the 3 cups, and then Art of War Games on Saturday.
I just get dates and show up.
Are you doing Effie's thing on Sunday or not? I'm not really seeing what's going on with that either. But
I don't think so. I don't believe I'm doing anything with that. If so, cool. If not, I don't care. I'll just go home.
What about you have any Ring of Honor dates coming up?
Yeah, we actually we're in Philadelphia in 2 weeks or next Saturday. Friday,
Perfect.
Saturday.
I'm gonna be there on Friday. I'll be shouting like a teenage girl for you.
I believe it's. I don't. One of the dates I can't remember. I'm terrible with dates. One of the dates that Friday it's either LFI versus us or the Foundation versus us. I can't remember. Cool. 4-on-4. I don't remember. Either one of the others. Like one's on Friday, one's on Saturday.
Okay.
So
I'm looking forward to rocking out to some Starship. Will I hear some Starship?
Sadly, no, because I can't.
Not in Ring of Honor.
No, I was also talking to Orange Cassidy this past week at PWG, and he came out to Jane by Jefferson Starship.
Right.
And they tried to get the rights to that song at
AEW when they originally were doing Where's My Mind?
Yeah.
Which honestly I like the Pixies more for him. But
nah.
You don't think
Jane's
so?
Great. Jane's great. Like he told me like they tried to reach out and like it was gonna be really expensive and Starship didn't know what it was for. And now they're kicking themselves in the ass because they realized that I got a lot of downloads.
Yeah, they really would have.
Yeah, if I came to like $10 million, I'd be like, hey, I want the rights.
Right.
To Starship. I don't care if it costs me all the $10 million.
So now if you couldn't have Starship, but you could pick something else that hit the same way, what would be your go-to?
I have used Starship for the entire 13 years I've been wrestling.
That's why I asked, because I feel like it's you.
It would be so hard for me to ever like. I remember when I did Ring of Honor the first show, and they gave me some generic theme. I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Like, how am I supposed to? Like, I legitimately vibe to "We Built This City." Like, I've spent hours listening to that song, and like the beat. I tried to sync my movements to the beat and everything like that. Like, I genuinely like. I don't like when people have theme music and they literally just walk out like nobody's business and they don't really like realize that your theme music go with the flow of it. If you're coming out to a slow song, you shouldn't be running out. Like it makes no sense. Ultimate Warrior came out of his music by running because his music sounded like he wanted to run through a fucking wall.
Yeah, it's part of the whole show. It's a big part of the show. It's the easiest way to draw somebody in before the match even starts.
I even have parts of this theme of "We Built the City" going on like in my head, like. And like I'll make sure that I do a quick turnaround, look at something during a certain part, just because like it's part of the beat. I go with the beat. Like as a musician, I always follow the beat on things.
Yeah, I want to go back to that. What instruments do you play?
I play bass and guitar.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Very cool. And you were in that punk band you said for a long time. What was the name of that?
I was in 2 punk bands. I was in one called The Arsenal, which the guy that he does photography for GCW. Him and I were in the band together.
Okay.
And then another one, this is a little derogatory, the name is. It's called the Cum Shots, but we spelled it COME. So.
Okay. It's like a basketball reference.
Yeah,
I got it.
We were a bunch of 15, 16-year-old punk kids, and we thought it was funny.
That's great. Now, is any of that stuff anything that is available anywhere or like on any, even Sadly, like on a SoundCloud or? Okay.
Because this was on Pure Volume was the thing.
Yeah.
And Pure Volume pretty much wiped everything clean.
I know.
Of older,
I had stuff on Pure Volume and it's all gone.
It was really before YouTube.
Yep.
So like you couldn't put it up on YouTube. Sadly.
Literally in that like 3 or 4 years beforehand. So if it happened now, it would probably be stored in a million different spots or in some cloud somewhere.
Yeah, you had to literally have a flash drive or a CD at the time, and CDs aren't forever sometimes.
It's so funny when you talk about stuff like that. I feel like it really pinpoints the time gap between then and now. Otherwise, it just feels like it was a few years ago. But sadly, it was not. But whatever, we're still young. I swear. I've ran through so many of the questions. I feel like if I were to continue, I would just be fanboying you. But I did want to.
If you have any random questions, I don't care. I'm an open book. I say I answer anything. I'll talk about anything. You know, I don't care.
Where's the worst place you wrestled ever? Where's the worst town you ever wrestled in?
Oh, the worst town?
Yeah.
Worst town. Oh. It's kind of hard because there's a lot of really small, crappy Pennsylvania places. Like a lot.
Well, you can put a specific rec center on blast or high school gym or wherever.
I did wrestle at a really shitty venue once. It's called Goodfellas in Pottsville, Pennsylvania.
In Pottsville?
Only two people showed up.
Oh, shit.
Literally, it's really
Okay.
pathetic. That was bad.
Did you get paid all the same?
No,
Oh,
I didn't get paid for the first few years of me wrestling
okay.
at all. I remember the one time I was like 6.5 years in, and I wrestled in New Jersey, and I got $40. And I text my friends that I started the business with. I was like, "Yo, guys, I got $40," and they're like, "Dude, you made it!" Like, they're like, "I can't believe you got $40." I was like,
Right.
"Yeah."
Upgraded from the handshake and hot dog
Yeah.
to actual cash. Yeah, shit, man.
Literally, like people make a joke about that, but that's what we were wrestling for. Like, we weren't getting paid, and like all we did was get some food out of it, maybe a Gatorade. Like, but I genuinely just wanted to wrestle. Like, that's all I cared about. And it was before like the advent of fucking like phones that you can record things, or like live streaming what it is today. So like during those times, like we legitimately had a camcorder, and that's how we recorded our matches. It's the only way we could have watched our matches. We couldn't watch our matches any other way.
Yeah. When you talk about some shitty venues in Pennsylvania, it's really hard to describe just how different Pennsylvania can be, depending on where in Pennsylvania you are. You know, you could be driving probably 2 hours away and you're in a whole different world. But I was hoping to play some Pennsylvania this or that with you, because you're in that little. Are you, like, Shamokin's kind of by Lehigh Valley in that area, right?
We're like about an hour away from Lehigh Valley area. I'm Northumberland. That was Northumberland County.
Okay. So I wasn't really sure if you're more of a Pittsburgh, Philly, or New York fan.
I'm a Pittsburgh guy.
That's what
I was literally just watching the Pirates game.
Okay. So we're gonna play some this or that. You already answered Pittsburgh over Philly. Penn State or Pitt?
I go Pittsburgh because I fucking hate Penn State. I hate Penn State because every single person I've ever met from Penn State or went to Penn State or is a fan of Penn State are obnoxious as fuck. They act like it's legitimate. They legitimately act like Penn State is a personality. It is not.
I grew up loving Penn State until I graduated from high school, and then all my friends that went to Penn State came back, and I got that same kind of vibe. So I know what you mean. I'm a Notre Dame fan now.
I'm from North Carolina, so I relate. You're that down here. It's your Carolina, Duke, or NC State, and man,
it's oh my no. Penn State fans are the worst. Like literally walk if you have a Penn State shirt on and they walk like we are like shut the fuck up. It's not a personality. Like no sport team is a personality. Stop it.
Right.
Yeah, like if you say it's a personality, you need a fucking life.
I love it.
Fair enough. How about this?
Or a better hobby. I don't know.
Phillies or Yankees?
Since I'm a really big history person, I'm going with the Yankees because there's a lot of history behind them. Right. And I don't like Philadelphia fans. They're obnoxious too.
I was gonna say Philly's getting the stank on this one. How about the Wawa or Sheets?
Sheets.
Yeah, I know, and I hate to admit it.
My man.
Don't tell.
Sheets all day.
We're friends. We're homie of the show, Shaza McKenzie, is a big Wawa fan, even though she lives all the way in Australia. And
Greg Iron's a big Sheets guy, and he's a fan of the show too. So now we're split. We've got more people on the Sheets team. So.
Well, see, Wawa was like when I was growing up, you can only get them in like Allentown. Okay. They didn't kind of make their way towards us yet. Now there's one not too far, but like I had a Sheets like 20 minutes from my house.
Yes.
But in reality, like I feel like they both have their positives, but when it comes down to it, I'll be like, none of those places are that great because they're MTO order places. They're disgusting.
Right.
Like,
no, yeah, definitely.
They're I will gladly admit Sheets' quality has dipped a lot since I was like really big into Sheets. Now really? It's like I only get their chicken wraps there now. I don't get anything else. Okay. And Wawa at least has a rice bowl when like if I'm trying to eat super clean. So I like that about them.
Yeah, that's true. All right, last one. Meek Mill or Mac Miller?
I'll be honest, they both suck. My wife loves Mac Miller though.
Really? I'm a big Mac Miller fan. I'm not gonna lie.
I do. I like punk rock music and like indie music. I don't really care. Well, if I like rap music, it's from like the 80s and 90s and maybe early 2000s.
What kind of? Really well, what's on your playlist? Who are some artists that you listen to now?
The Front Bottoms, Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties, Bonnevere, Spanish love songs. Like I said, I like a lot of like pop punk or punk music. Like, and it really just depends on my mood.
Sure.
Like hell, I could go and listen to Meatloaf tonight and just that would be my jam for a while. But like I just
me and you both, man.
I just do
Were
not.
we that hard on you tonight?
No, I
I'm
genuinely like Meatloaf.
Me too.
Nah,
Like I
hear
love Meatloaf. Like I grew up listening to Meatloaf, so
Mm-hmm.
it's something I always listen to. But like it or '90s alternative the '90s music had like '90s had the greatest eclectic part of music ever. Am I still here? Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're good.
like there's like all the music in the '90s is like such a wide range, and I liked all of it. Like they had great pop music, they had great punk music, they had great grunge music, rap music, like everything was just awesome.
I agree. I have Sirius in my car, and I'm always on either the grunge or the garage or oh my god, Lithium 34 that plays all the grunge, or 35, which is XMU, which plays all the alternative Bon Iver and all that. But when I got to know, what's your favorite '90s rap, even if it's not your favorite genre?
I don't know why I was just first like Regulate by Warren.
Nate Dogg and Warren G.
Yeah, I don't.
That was my first ringtone ever.
That song, I don't know what it is about that song, the flow and the vibe of the song. It makes me happy. I'm just like, like I could never be in a bad mood while listening to that song ever. It just comes on and you're just like, damn, like yeah.
That song always reminds me of Matt Riddle because that was what he used to come out to for a while. But dude, I'm all out of questions, but thank you so much for joining us today and for coming on and for rescheduling just to be able to fit into our schedule. For anybody listening, again, follow Tony Deppen on Twitter at Tony_Deppen, Deppen, and check him out. He's going to be in Philly in 2 weeks for Ring of Honor. And you said you have upcoming shows for, was it GCW?
Yeah, GCW will be in Chicago, September. I know we're coming to Atlantic City in October, and LA. We're doing a lot of different dates.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, New York, September 23rd and 24th.
Oh, where in New York are you going to be?
I don't know yet.
Okay. Well, we'll.
I just know it's in New York.
Okay, we'll keep an eye out and we'll repost that. But that's around my way too, so hopefully I can get out to that. But I'm looking forward to cheering you on when you get to Philly. Cass, you got anything for the man while we got his time?
No, man. I'll try to track you down in Chicago. I should be there. Man, I might be in New York too. So if so, I'll try to make sure to pop in at those GCW shows. I didn't know you guys were running around the Arthur Ashe AEW. That's a good thing for me to piggyback up and go see.
I think it's I don't. Maybe I'm mistaken the name. Maybe it's the Fillmore, I think, or some shit. No, it's Fillmore's Philly. It's something ball. It's a ball.
Fillmore is in a bunch of different towns though.
But no, the Fillmore I'm thinking is the Philly one.
Okay, gotcha. By the way, I love the Foundry inside the Fillmore in Philly. You ever been to the Foundry inside the Fillmore in Philly?
No.
It's a small, stripped-down venue, like 600 people, but it's great for.
I know I've heard of it. I just never got a chance to ever see any shows because, like, the bands I want to go see when they perform, or as soon as their tickets go on sale, they sell out quicker than anything.
Right. Let me ask you: how do you like Ace Enders and Early November? I Can Make a Mess.
I don't mind the Early November. Not my biggest thing, but
gotcha.
I'll listen to them.
We're still recording. I don't know why I'm still wasting your time, but just popped in. But anyway, thank you so much again for joining us. God bless you and your family, and good luck to you the rest of the year with all the shows that you have coming up. We'll be in touch, and we'll be tweeting out everything that you have coming up soon. Cass, anything else for him before we wrap it up?
Now, make sure everybody go follow Tony on all of his social media gimmicks and wherever you can find him. Do the same for us. We're pretty easy to find. But it's about you, man. So not putting us over here. We're about you. So everybody go follow Tony. Keep up with his work, man.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Really appreciate it.
We appreciate it. Thank you. And we'll see you soon, man. Thanks again.
Bye.